You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Chris Gillis and Dr. Emily. This is not what it looks like when you're falling in love. All right. Oh, my Lanta. I'm so horrified by the way that these ladies and gentlemen on Bachelor in Paradise have let me down. Last week, I was singing Victoria's praises. Now she's getting goo-goo eyes over Johnny saying, I'm not good enough for you. One day I can give you all those things. But first, I have to go surfing with Aaron and play sharks and minnows. And then we've got Genevieve, who I can't believe I'm actually rooting for her now because she is so just fucking emotionally thrashed by the dumbest man maybe on the planet, Aaron, who has a sweat gland problem. I think there's so much to learn here. And then what's wrong with these ladies that Alex is just a non-entity?
Insane,
right? And then, of course, Michael and Danielle have been voted the narrators.
Yeah.
After that, that trauma bonding, he just shut his fucking mouth and
so much to unpack.
So I want to start actually with Eliza because Eliza and Rodney, because and for those of you who don't play along, Eliza and Rodney were dating for 4 days and they were in love because it's paradise. And then they were separated for 7 days. And then when they came back, they knew that they were meant for each other. Except after 2 more days, Justin comes back and there's this silly little manipulation going on, which is part of the story, which is a guy is supposed to fight for you if you want to date other people. And so I want to start with that question, Chris, and Dr. Emily is here. So let's just start with the limiting belief that there's this confusion for women of gender roles, right? We're feminists, but we want a guy to fight for us and tell us, no, you can't do that. But yet we're feminists and we're empowered. And I think it's really interesting because I read one article actually by my favorite girl, Allie, and on The Cut, the New York Times. She said that when Eliza asks Rodney, is it okay if I go on a date with Justin? The reason why he says, I don't want you to, but you have to decide, is because he doesn't want to get portrayed as a misogynist.
Sure.
Yeah. Right? Man, right? He's protecting. And so he went, whether it was because he's a stand-up guy and he wanted to respect her and give her space, or he just wanted to avoid being labeled. Let's just talk about in real life. Is that happening? As women, are we oh, take care of me, rescue me, make all the decisions. I'm so tired of being the man. But then we're in then we're life, and then we're but I'm empowered and I'm a feminist and you can't tell me what to do. So I don't know, Dr. Emily, Chris, what do you guys think about that whole setup?
Clearly, yeah, some women, I'm so on the opposite side of this that I find it hard to even get in the headspace that Eliza and Kate did the same thing.
Yeah, Kate did the same thing with Casey.
And yeah, I completely see that as confusing. And especially in the context of the show, it has happened before that a guy's been I don't want you to go on a date. And the girl's well, you can't control me. And this is the purpose of being here is that we date other people and blah, blah, blah. So now I'm breaking up with you because you're being too controlling. And it's these guys have clearly are trying to be it's your choice, it's your decision. Like, I respect you, I want to be with you, but like, if you want to go on a date, go on a date. And I think that is incredibly conflicting messages to say, like, fight for me, but also like respect me and let me make my own choices, but also don't let me, like, I don't,
it's so confusing. And
who could
and then when we talk about Kate and Logan, Chris, tell me about this, because in the end, when they talk to the camera, to the producers, we find out that each one of them wanted the other person to say, don't go out on a date with someone else. So basically, they're not even having direct communication.
Right.
What do you think? Like, what do you think they could have done differently? Like, this is basically in real life. Like, when do you have the exclusive conversation and how do you have it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. It is. I do think that this feminism is confusing to men. I think it's confusing to women too, but it's really, really, really confusing. Just because, like you mentioned, we don't want to overstep our boundaries, but yet then when we do, we don't. But then when you do want us to open the door, but you don't, because then it's maybe symbols that you're not strong enough to get your own doors in life. And so there's a lot of interesting push pulls, and to have, I guess that's maybe Marni, I think that's just maybe some advanced level communication that these dum-dums on an island playing sharks and minnows and asking what their favorite colors aren't quite ready for. Well, what does this experience look like you? And what is being controlled look like you? Or what does giving free will look like to you? Because, I want you to be an equal, and it goes both sides, both man and both male, and both men and women. Because the other guys, they were also, they've been bummed out that they weren't, that they were worried that they weren't chosen, or their girls got up and went on dates with them. And also, I think even Genevieve was pissed off too in the beginning with Justin, right? Because he went on a date with somebody. Was it Shanae that Justin went on a date with? Victoria. Yeah, Victoria.
Right.
It was all about that. What is dating? I suppose maybe that's a better question.
So here's the thing. So when we just did our Ignite Your Life event, and I talk about why women are so confused and sometimes end up being in their masculine, which is not really a huge turn on. And there's two things that are showing up in this example. One is I call the power play dynamic, which is, as women, what is our relationship to power, right? Like, how are we powerful at work? How did we learn what power is in relationship? Like, some women were taught, like, don't be with the guy, you need to always make sure he likes you more than you like him, like, keep the power. Power in a relationship is bad, right? Like, I don't want to feel like a guy has power over me, but yet I want him to make all the decisions when it comes to picking a restaurant or planning a trip. So I think that women are confused about their relationship with power today, and that they need clear about that. And then the second thing, which I just alluded to, is this whole gender blender, right? Like, we have all these gender roles and rules that we come into our life with, depending upon how we were raised, how old we are, what we were taught by our parents, and men are confused. And then we see the result whereby Eliza's telling Rodney, like, you're an idiot, you didn't fight for me. And we find out that Logan and Kate just totally both want to be exclusive, but we're too afraid, dumb, whatever, to actually say that. So I think the resolution on this is like direct and honest conversation, right? Like, I'm in a place, like Kate would say, I'm in a place, I was asked out on another date. I know for me, I'm ready to be exclusive. I'm not saying that that's what you need to do, but that's where I am. So I'm going to choose not to go on a date.
Yeah. I completely agree. Yeah. I think that all of that on the island, like, comes down to miscommunication. But I will say, for the women who, like, think this whole, like, fight for me thing is, like, what they want, like, I would just, as you're saying, like, let's extrapolate that, because if you're saying you want your guy to say, like, you're not allowed to go on this date, like, I'm not going to be with you if you do this. Are you also okay with him saying that, like, you're not allowed to go on this work trip? You're not allowed to hang out with your male friends at work. You're not allowed to. And if you are, like, no judgment at all. If that is the relationship that you genuinely, truly want, you want those very clear boundaries in your man to like really come in and like go for it. But like, if you're going to say, in this situation, I want you to stand up and tell me no, but in all these other situations, you have to let me decide. Well, now you're just giving a very mixed message, and that's where all this confusion that Chris is talking about is coming from. It's like,
yeah, and you can see it on Rodney's face. He's like, what? I'm so confused. I was trying to be respectful. Now okay. So then you take it like big picture. And this is what I'm thinking. Like, Rodney, here's the thing. You fucked up, whatever. Maybe you didn't fuck up. Maybe Eliza needs to go out on dates with Justin. Maybe Justin is her person. Find out now. You really actually, in reality, only known each other like 12 days. Right. And so in the end, like, that's how he could handle it. That's how our listeners could handle it. You could be like, oh, I really was hoping that we were ready to be exclusive, but he still wants to go out on dates. So you know what? If you find someone that's a better match, then that's good, because then I'm free to have someone else. So I think that wherever you are in that scenario, you need to get really clear on what your expectations are and really define fight for me. Or are you really just saying, Rodney, I really wish you were clear about your feelings and you wanted to be exclusive with me? And you would say that, right? Like, Eliza, honestly, I'd be really sad if you got on this date. I'm in a place where I'd like to be exclusive.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Right? Okay. And then she can be like, really? Oh, my, and knowing these fucking women, because they're like, you like me, I like you. She would have been like, oh, yay, butterflies and rainbows. Except Twitterverse did point out, they were like, you're a liar, Eliza, because you told Justin, yeah, I'll totally go out on a date with you. And then she did not message it that way. So I'm a fan of dating multiple people until you get your person. It requires literally mandates clarity within yourself and direct communication of what your expectations are.
So a subcategory I want to pop out to you guys, and it's related to this topic, and I've been seeing it a lot on this season. Marni and Dr. Emily enlightened me about the power of all these gals on here. The power of feeling and believing that they're chosen, because that's what it really seems to come down to. These girls, they just want to make sure that they're chosen. What's going on inside, insecurities or strengths, or what am I not picking up? What do you mean these guys who are fucking up and not saying what they need to say?
I think that a lot of women have what we call on our campus pick me energy, right? They just want to be picked. Like their daddy didn't pick them. Like, which are really, really powerful, because then your childhood needs will always supersede your adult wants. My friend Allie says it so well here in this article. She's like, Eliza wishes he threw a Gaston style fit and forbade her from going to, from proclaiming his love. And that's just it, right? That Gaston style thing is literally fairy tale.
Yeah.
Right? It's Gaston, for those of you who don't know, is Beauty and the Beast, right? And Gaston is like misogynist, controlling, woodcutter guy. I don't know. But that's the thing. I think that when we get into pick me energy, and then this is going to be a perfect segue to talk about Victoria, because it seems to me that the self-worth of these ladies, or the main characters they're focusing on, literally is like so fragile or so faux that if a guy picks them and declares he's falling, then they're like, done. It's literally like what happens on The Bachelor, right? Or The Bachelorette, where they're like, oh, falling for me? It's a fucking Clayton's syndrome, right? Where he's like, I just want people to say they're falling for me. That will make me feel good about myself.
Right.
Right. So I think that's really, this is that like lack of self-worth, lack of self-love, not seeing yourself as valuable, just vomiting all over the damn beach.
Yep. I also wonder too how, and I noticed this last night in looking to the previous next, the women are always the one handing out the roses. So the men have had like one, I think, rose ceremony, which I think is contributing to this like weird power dynamic where the men are not given the opportunity to like choose. And the women are constantly choosing and are like, I have all the choices. There's always more men than women here. So like, I think that's a big contributor to this just very weird power play energy that the women are giving off.
Yeah, and it's very, very strange. And the other thing I want to point out before we talk about Victoria also is that it's like these love stories are sort of like these women are stuck in like a time machine, right? Where it keeps repeating over and over again, this I'm not enough. It's like, you know, Logan and Shanae, right? Like him being like, oh, this girl who I think is hotter picks me. So now I'll pick her. You know, it's like whoever wants me, it's like survival of the fittest. And they just keep repeating it over and over again. The quality of the connection, who are you? What are your values? What are we looking for? The same thing is like completely missing. My favorite is when Hayden, you know, goes on a chat with Shanae and she goes, so what are your core values? Also, me rooting for Shanae, I'm so confused at myself. I'm like, what? But that's a great question. That's a Victoria. Well, that's who we thought Victoria. That's a great question on a date. What are your core values? And then what's amazing is like Hayden says like, well, I have a dog named Rambo, right? Like he doesn't really answer the question. However, he goes on a date with Kate and we get to see what his values are. Right. And at least she's sort of like collecting data and be like, he spent 6 figures on his dog. That doesn't match up with my values. Like I love animals, but that does not match up with my value. He's probably not a match, even though we see a preview of her saying, well, he's got money, so maybe I should go out with him.
Yeah.
She is scary, by the way. She's scary.
Savage.
She's so good. She knows what she wants. She'll step on anybody to get it and do whatever it takes.
Yeah, she's like a whole show in itself. So let's go back and talk about Victoria. Because last week I was like singing her praises here. I was like, this is the model of like, you know, a what are we looking for conversation. And I am just so for our dear listeners, because I think they read the manual and they're like, oh, I should find out if a guy is like, has the same values as me. Okay. And then you find out they're not, but they're hot or there's chemistry or you don't have a chemistry with the other guy. So you default back to the guy who's bad for you. Like where was her bad? What would she have done different? Why do you think she felt, what is Johnny's like F-boy kryptonite? Like speak to me about this.
It's mother's milk. I think she's tasted it. She's probably used to it. I think she lives in Nashville. He's not pursuing asking those deep, scary. He probably just feels in control. Yeah, at the end of the day. Whereas with this other guy, this sexy Alex, he seems to really know what she wants, and he may control it. He's probably ahead of her in some ways as far as career goes and what he wants. And so maybe just the easy thing. And he picked her. Well, not that the other guy hasn't picked her, but Johnny's told her he's picked her. Johnny's shows that he's beneath her, right? He's like, I don't deserve you. That's so scary. So that's got to feel good on a self-esteem, right?
I also really wonder about the impact of like in this situation, like the other people, like the friends, right? I think Johnny is very clearly like in the bro group and is very well liked by everybody. And so even without anybody like explicitly saying it, I think I'm sure that had something to do with it. It's like Victoria's like, oh, if I want to be in like the cool person group and like fun people, Johnny's my guy. Alex is kind of an outsider because he came in late and he's like European or whatever. I don't know. But like, yeah, I think that probably had a big sway too.
I mean, the other thing is just that thing that some women do who are like, if you are broken or you have potential, I will pick you. And I think, she asked Johnny last week, like, what are your career goals? And he's like, I don't know. Like, I'm ambitious and I'm hella
passionate. I'm hella ambitious. What?
I was like trying to imagine a world in which Victoria found out that Johnny checked her boxes, and maybe they had a conversation off camera, like, yeah, man, babe, we could both be Insta influencers and we'll like get a van like Deanie Babies and Caitlyn and we'll make money for like, that'll be our career. Maybe they like, let's just pray they had that conversation, you know, and maybe he said like, you know, I just don't want to get married now, but like maybe next week, or I mean, next year, you know, like I'm just, because it literally doesn't make sense in any way other than what happens all the time, which is a guy is broken, a guy has potential. He tells you what you want to hear. That part of you that wasn't picked, that you think love is fixing, helping. She doesn't feel enough. So her enoughness comes from like supporting, coaching, healing him through her love. Like it's just how you pick the wrong person. And I just think it shows like how Victoria has come so far, but when the stakes are high and the guy is really cute, we forget everything that we know that's better for us and we default to our old patterns. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting because unless they change the rules of this game, and Ali also says, where are we? Is this the middle? Is it the end? Where are we in the season? Like 3 roses have been handed out. But in the end, right, they do this whole shtick where they're like, okay, you have a day to think about it. If you're not going to propose, then you have to leave. I mean, is she willing? Did they have the conversation? Right? Like our friend, what was that guy's? Jason wanted to do with Gabby, right? Like on the last season, he was like, look, I can't propose to you, but I'll be your boyfriend. Like I'll go off and date you. So Victoria is like, is she settling? Like, okay, well, let's just leave the show as dating and we'll see we don't know what's going to happen. But ladies, like, don't pretzel your dreams and desires. And he likes you and he's hitting all your wounded buttons.
Here's a question for you guys. Do you think that, is Johnny a boy and Alex? Is it safer to date a boy than a man, and it feels easier to do? And if so, for the listeners out there, how do you know what is the difference between if they're dating, if they're quote unquote kind of wasting their time dating yet another boy, versus what qualities has he shown versus what is it that's got you girls all hot and bothered about Alex, and the whole internet is like, oh, he's a man. I don't know if it's his beautiful chest hair or a thick, coarse beard, or just the way he's just so chill and seems to be decisive and patient or whatnot, and not maybe emotionally grounded. What are those differences between if you're dating a boy versus a man, kind of evidenced by these two?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. I think that we haven't seen that much of Alex, unfortunately. All we've seen is that Alex and Victoria had nothing to talk about except the same conversation over and over again of how you're so nice and you check my boxes. So I can't really tell you, but his energy is just more mature. He seems more grounded. Like he just seems like his esteem isn't tied into this whole story. So that he's like engaged, but he's not like attached to the outcome. He's just kind of observing. And I just think that's a little more mature and sexy. I think Johnny's boy vibes, well, besides, so Emily, this is woman to woman. When Johnny went in, and I know we're talking about last week, but it was just, it happened, Monday night. When he shifted into like, I'm not getting picked and I'm getting called out on my lack of direction in my life. Did you notice his whole energy changed? Because I felt like he literally looked like a little kid instead of that swagger guy on Gabby and Rachel's season. I was literally like, he looks 12. Did you notice that?
So true. And another thing of like women, well, anybody actually, like a dysfunctional family kind of effect is like confusing love with pity. And I wonder if that was like something that came out in Victoria when he like crumbled, like his whole body is like whoosh, and his voice changed. And he's not like, oh, babe, like surfer boy anymore. He's like sad and weak and I'm alone. And it draws out, I mean, for me, it draws out pity. And if you're confusing love with pity. Like, well, there you go. Now I love this person because I feel bad for him.
Yeah, that's such a good point. We're so lucky to have a doctor on the show. Yeah, I think that's really true. And I think what I always tell my clients is that when you do the work on yourself and you start to see that in someone, they literally become unattractive to you. You know, and so I'm just like, wow, I used to think he was really cute. And I liked him just because he's the only guy who didn't have the stupid fucking fade haircut. And now I'm like, I don't like you at all. Like you are just directionless. And so you're trying to make her feel like she's asking for too much. And it goes back to this thing of like, know what you want, know what you're looking for. Dating is a process. Like, if you're starting to get pink flags that start to turn to red flags, like I know it's really hard, but you have to break the cycle and move on. I wish Victoria would have just picked Alex just for the hell of it because she's not getting engaged either way. So she might as well try dating someone who's different. Okay. So speaking of flags, let's talk now about Genevieve and Aaron.
Gaslighting.
Oh my God. First of all, Emily, for the 400th time, Dr. Emily, can you tell the children what gaslighting really is?
Not that. So not that. It's like an intentional and a repetitive way of making somebody feel like their feelings, their thoughts, even their memories are wrong to the point where they feel like I must be crazy. Like I must just be making all of this up. So it is not what happened. And I'm glad Victoria did say, like, he's just using a buzzword. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I know. Victoria's like, he's dumb. First of all, and let's just talk about like girlfriends who bring you down rather than bring you up, lift you up. Who says like to your best friend, he's just using a buzzword, he's dumb, and then like, and you should get back together with him.
Yeah.
This is true love.
It must be true love.
And that is what is like, you know, I would like do a public service announcement. I'd be like, you know, this is like an example. If you thought this was a good relationship and good problem solving and how to handle conflict, like PSA, like, no, this is toxic. This is so unhealthy. This is not how you express love. Like, you don't have to threaten to leave and pack your bags to get someone to treat you well or to change or to behave. And the fact that this show just let that sit is so fucking irresponsible. It kind of makes me mad. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have a comment on that? Because like I saw online the little memes were like of like a lineup of red flags. Like this is Aaron, you know, like he's so,
wow.
Yeah. Really? What do you guys think about that?
Well, so, okay. From what we saw, he snapped. Like she brought up the most mild request. Can I talk to you for 10 minutes? And he blew up and got angry and defensive and childish. And it was like very not okay. And I can't help, I was thinking, I think Chris too, we were both thinking like, and also from the comments that other people were saying, like Genevieve and Aaron are always fighting and kind of how we know like Genevieve does have this like moodiness to her. My thought is, and this is just based on a hypothetical, but I think that she gets on his ass a lot. And I think that was building. And we saw the dam burst and it's not, none of it's okay. Like none of it is good communication. None of it makes sense. But I think I was like, what? Like, this is what he's mad about? This doesn't make any sense. And so,
yeah, it was so weird. It's like, there was a moment where he was crying and I saw like, what's interesting is like when these men turn to that little boy thing and you see it on their face and you can see it in their whole energy shift, like Johnny. I saw that again with Aaron when he said like, you know, it's really scary for me to love you. And this triggers like being left or whatever it was, you know, she started listening and then they hugged or whatever. And I thought, what happened to this kid? You know, like someone was definitely constantly criticizing him. Like he was a criticized child. He didn't get to have fun. He didn't get to play. Like he probably had to maybe raise some siblings or, you know, do some serious shit because the minute she's like, you know, can we talk? He's like, I just want to drink beers and kiss and like have fun. I'm like, literally, is this a high school pool party? What?
He wants to play Sharks and Minnows.
He wants Chris, you were shaking. You were nodding.
Very, very, I disagree. Very different.
What? Tell me.
On that stuff. By the way, I bet you are spot on with his kind of analysis, psychoanalysis of his past and how he's, but what I've been, guys, it's important. Yes, what his reaction was not commensurate to her, to what she said based on that, slicing and editing and all these things we saw throughout the day. 100% agree with you guys on that. What I think is important though, is to pull back and look at all the film that we have. And I've been saying, and you've been saying, we're like, oh my God, Genevieve is fucking exhausting. Everything, constant crisis and paper cut and paper cut and paper cut. I think she finally got down to his bone and he was like, fuck, and then they could action. We're going to include that one in there. He jumps in there. He's like, oh my God, what now? What have I done now? And I think, and I can say and Aaron's my favorite guy for a lot of reasons. So maybe I'm just partial, but I think that he's sick and tired of being with somebody where he is and feels like emotionally hijacked, meaning her emotions always take over his. And I felt like he got upset, and he said it before. He's like, I fucking can't take this anymore. I have feelings too. And he was being vulnerable and he was like screaming,
right.
Like, no, what I have to say also matters. But then as soon as we saw it earlier in that little palapa thing or whatever, he was expressing, hey, I saw I had to take some time. He walked away from her and I needed to think through my thoughts. And then she flipped on it and made it all about her. She starts crying. Whoever has the stronger, reaction, tears take over, and it wasn't about him anymore. And I think then fast forward down to the where they're all sitting together having the cuddle puddle. He was like, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to explode as well. And I have some things. And so what do men usually do? We're not allowed to explode in tears. So we explode in anger. And that was his Genevieve moment. So she got
I totally see that in the words of Victoria. I can see both your sides. That makes sense. I think the bottom line though is like, and I just wrote a blog about this, about what makes someone emotionally unavailable. And I think that this is it. Like I give Aaron an A for, he can name his feelings. He can say, I'm sad, I'm scared, right? Good job. So he can feel a feeling, he can articulate it, but in the moment he can't manage them, right? So he has not figured out how to self-soothe enough so that he can respond rather than react, because he had a moment when she said, can we talk? And he's like, I don't know if I'm ready to talk. Fair enough, but he was a dick about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
he was a dick about it. And he could have said like, I want to talk to you. We need to have a conversation. I feel like I'm still angry and I don't want to say something that isn't going to help us resolve this. So can I get another 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And then she could have said, well, I'm leaving. And he could have said, well, I would really appreciate it if you don't leave, so that we could have a conversation. If you do want to leave, that you don't run out of here.
Yeah.
I want our listeners to ultimately be able to do is like, if you can nail those three things, you're more likely to have healthy, intimate relationships.
And easier said than done. Emily and I
for sure.
talk about this a
interesting
lot.
fight for me, because I very much used to be a Genevieve, in that if there was some kind of conflict and like my intentions were misunderstood and I felt like I was being made out to be a villain or something, I was like, goodbye, I'm done. Like I'm leaving the situation. Goodbye. You will not hear from me again. And like, so I can totally see her side. And now that I've like grown out of that, I also see how, and what I think this is true, what Chris is saying is like, she also had a very emotional outburst. Like her emotions were also very reactionary and very not well controlled, and she wasn't coping. Her coping is, I'm crying and I'm leaving. Yeah,
I don't even think she can do the like, I think, to be honest, and tell me if you agree, I don't think Genevieve's even got the I'm having a feeling. I know it's in my body. I can name it. I can express it. She just like, she just cries, right?
Yeah.
So she just completely falls apart. So, and that's why it's weird that Aaron might be a little bit ahead of her, but still.
Right. So before we go bashing Aaron, let's hit her over the club.
Okay, but he did say one very revealing thing, which is, I make Genevieve happy all the time.
I love that.
And she only makes me happy some of the time. And I was like, no, Aaron, no.
Well. Okay.
No one all or never nothing.
That's true.
All or nevers are out. No.
I thought that was very, very revealing.
Yeah.
Meaning what I heard that as, and I've been, I've dated those, what I felt to be like Genevieve's. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm eating yet another shit sandwich. She handed me another one. I just shut up and I don't give her mine. I bottle it in. I push it down. And she's giving me a fucking another one. I'm constantly just eating it into the chin. And I'm not allowed to say anything. So I'm letting her, because it feels good, by the way, to yell or cry or scream.
Yeah.
Don't you always feel better afterwards? When it's like, and he's probably like, and Aaron loves to fucking yell and scream.
Bro,
and yeah, he's a bro. He's a big masculine man. He's got a lot of emotions. It makes him so charismatic and fun. And he doesn't. He's like, well, when is my turn to let it out too? Because it feels good to really express yourself unhinged and just.
And that's what he just did in the Palapa. He was just like full on unedited dick.
Yeah,
and that's what happens.
Yeah,
and I talked about this last week, and I it was on our list of talk. I don't know if we got to it, but I was like, what happens if for you ladies out there who because it's fun to be a Genevieve. Genevieves get all the they have the great Facebook posts and Instagrams, and they're the center of drama around all their friends because they always have the most juicy things to talk about. Everyone surrounds you and huddles around you, keeps you from packing up your stuff, and is cheering you on, and you're getting all this attention. But at what cost? And eventually, a dude is going to stop chasing you down. Through outside the little grotto thing into your white Escalade as you leave. They're going to give up, or they're going to say, you know what, this is bullshit. I'm constantly doing what I can, and eventually he's going to blow up on you. And guess what? You're going to have a good story because it's really easy, I guess, to turn on him and say, well, he yelled, or he fucking threw something, or even worse, right? Maybe he did something worse. So you know what? You're right, girl. You should definitely divorce because he should have. But it was a death by 1,000 cuts, and that's why I think he finally exploded. I saw her pumping Aaron into that goddamn basketball, and finally, it wasn't violent. Bam.
I totally see that. And that's why, and then the last part of that public service announcement, which I just want to reiterate, is that both of them have a reason for what they did, but none of those things is a sign that you have a great relationship, or that you're in love with each other. I think, I love the innocence that comes from this thing with Genevieve when she says, I just wanted to talk to you because I want to tell you I love you. Like, that's fair, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a little weird that Aaron's comes from like anger, blah, blah, blah. And I love you too. I'm like, how does that go from like all that anger over the shit sandwich into, and I love you too. And then they just pretend like nothing happened. So ladies, like, just, I'm sorry, but Eliza and Victoria, that is not a sign of a healthy relationship.
Yeah, but it sure is a fun one. It's fun and exhausting, but it's up and down. It's a roller coaster. Maybe another reason I love Aaron so much. I actually did the same thing with my ex, the long-term ex. We were in a gnarly fight. It was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, still going at it. And I didn't even realize. I was like, I love you. And she's like, what? Did you love me? I was like, no. God damn it, I did, didn't I? I had to like own it. I was like, oh, I love you too. And I was like, oh no, what have I done? No, it's not good. And yeah, I learned a lot there and I've come a long ways. But it's weird. So I guess I can see what people are like, wow, they're so passionate, so fire, they're expressive. Maybe that's why people are like, that must be true love, because they are expressing their stuff, but they're
expressing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that's exhausting to like, if that's how you're in the first 3 weeks of your relationship, totally. I just think that's like not a long-term sitch. Okay. For our last topic, I want to talk about the younger guy situation with Flo and Shanae. I don't even know what to say. But one thing that I like about Shanae is she is doing a great job of dating multiple people.
Yes.
And she is not picking the guy who's into her, because she probably could have just stayed with that toothpaste conversation when they're having a conversation. You guys should look this up on YouTube just because it's like the dumbest thing ever. It's like watching a funny cat video. They're bonding. We have trauma bonding with Michael and Danielle, and then we have bonding over our obsession with teeth.
Charcoal toothpaste. Yeah.
Oh my God. I carry a floss in my, no way. You're no. So I love that Shanae's dating other people. I was joking with Jeremy because he's 8 years younger than me. And I was like, well, basically that would have been me like when I was 32 or whatever, and you're 24. Mm-hmm. So I want to know, do you think, also, I love, this is another thing I wanted to say before we go into the psychology of it. This is the power of going on a date that's not dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you do an activity date, like they, I've read some research where it says that when you do an experience with another person and both of you are having a new experience, like it's new for both of you, it creates connection and bonding, which is why going out to dinner is like not the best date. So I love that they put them in, and it was also so Love Island-y, right? They're like, right? And I was like, oh, they're trying to pick out the good stuff of Love Island. But anyway, they have this fun date. So the thing is, was there really chemistry? Were they just drunk? Like, what do you think about the whole thing that Flo and Shanae both like I don't even know their names, but they're just the twins.
The twins, Justin and Joey.
Justin and Joey.
Justin. I do.
Justin is silver, Joey is gold.
Gold chain, bro. I got two chains there with her. They are cute. They wore the same thing. I do want to point out how it's worth noting how couldn't stand Victoria, and then you love Victoria. We couldn't stand Shanae, and now you're like, yeah, Shanae.
I feel the same way. Even though she's like. She's still being a bit like hypocritical and stuff, but yeah, she's very endearing this season. I'm like,
she's the only one who is really actually doing like Paradise, like old school style, right? Yeah. Where you're like, let me date him, like they used to do that where the people would come in and they would like, it was way more interesting. Now they're like wifed up after 3 days. So props to her.
She got rejected and she didn't immediately leave the island like all the other girls have, which is why there's no girls there anymore. Like, she didn't
get into the drama with Kate and Logan. She was just like, whatever, I'm going to go find my own person. Like, I know, I can't believe Shanae. But anyway, what do you think about Shanae and Flo and the boys?
I think it's just fun. I think, like you're saying, like, how could you not have fun on that date? Like, you're drinking. The guys are good, obviously twins. They know each other well. The girls know each other well. They're all just like having fun. I'd be shocked if it goes much further than that.
Yeah.
But there's nothing. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with their age differences. It's like it's obviously something. If a guy isn't ready to be in a relationship, but we've seen other guys. Johnny's however old he is, and he's not ready to be in a relationship. So
he's only like 1 or 2 years older than those boys. They're all acting like they're children. Jeremy's like, are they 18? I'm like, I think they're 24, and like Johnny and Logan are like 25 or 26.
Yes, Logan was saying, I was like, Logan, you're 26. What are you talking about? Like these, we're going to be babysitting these babies. I was like, what?
Yeah, especially because probably when they did Bachelor, they were probably a year younger. You know what I mean? When you look at the timeline.
I thought, Marni, I thought it was a really good example for the gals out there to look at, hey, when you get asked out on a date and your schedule's clear and you don't really need to wash your hair again or do your laundry, fucking go and have some fun.
Yeah.
Just go and have some fun. Keep an open mind.
Yeah.
And you don't start future pacing. Well, how will he really have children or this? And I'm like, you know what? I'm free. Who knows where it's going to go? And I'm just going to have, and they were, they even, I think that's one thing that Shanae's been good at is she hasn't been barfing any neediness over these guys. And she's kind of being measured on, and how she's playing the game and she's enjoying it or whatever. But I thought they had to roll around and, covered in baked refried beans and
I know. Oh my God, I was like, and then,
I do think they got a little bit loose. I think Emily's right. I think there was a little bit of tequila involved, and But it didn't seem like, nobody's going to be devastated. Like, hey, they're going to come back and say it was a fun date. Maybe not my guy, but I made dating fun, and it didn't be all super stressful. And the first person who likes me, you like me. They didn't have those I need to be picked vibes.
No, it was, and I think that's what Shanae's done is she stayed out of the drama, weirdly, for the most part. She's there to meet someone. She's having fun. I mean, she's the one who asked Hayden, what are your core values? I think she realizes Jacob is just a Lyft driver who sold his couch for cash, but he's fun and pretty to some. But I just think I like that she's staying open-minded and she is having fun. And that's what dating can be if you don't take everything personally. And you stay open-minded. So, lastly, I just have to say, because I have to complain about the show for like a minute and a half.
Oh boy, it wouldn't be the same podcast when Marnie didn't have her.
No, but why can't they they're bringing in all these dummies. Why are they bringing in the Hayden guy, Peter Pizza guy, the twin guys?
Oh
why are they not bringing in? Because that's the other thing that used to happen on the shows. They'd bring in one or two comic relief people, like for comedy, but they would generally bring in actually viable candidates, and they're not. And that's why I think in that Vulture article, she's like, where are we in the season? Like, is it almost over? Like, are more people coming? I'm so confused. I've really literally been dating for it's been 3 weeks. That's it. I don't know how long Paradise is.
A new girl hasn't come into the picture since the whole swap. There's no new girls. So I'm like, what? Yeah, how are we mixing things up here if it's just new guy after new guy? Like when the twins came down, I was like, who's even not matched up enough to go on this date? Like I genuinely did not know who they were going to pick because I was like, everybody is coupled up. This is insanity.
It is. And Alex is just, so by the way, I learned this online last night. Alex and Flo were in Bachelor in Paradise, Australia together.
Oh.
And he gave Flo a friendship rose to save her. Like 5 years ago when they were on that show together. And she was like, that wasn't random. She goes, that was not random. I literally wanted to return the favor. And so I gave him a friendship rose. And they did not obviously explain that. So I just want to see more Alex. I want to see something interesting.
It's like this is like Emily said that the power dynamics are all freaking wonky. I think the producers are like, they found something new. We'll just keep dumping men in so these women can just they're not overly, most of them aren't like overly exerting themselves and are really in positions of power, and the guys are struggling and boys are crying. That's cool. Women are badasses. Men are losers. It's like The Bachelor in Alaska with a 10-to-1 guy to girl ratio. Take your pick, ladies. You can have any supermodel you want.
Oh my God. And so I don't really know what's going to happen, but I think we've seen a lot of really good examples of what not to do, as we always do.
Totally.
So blessings for all of them.
A question for you guys.
Okay, final questions. We got it because I know Dr. Emily has to bet.
All the people in the Bachelor on Bachelor Paradise? I'll go first. Yeah. Who are you most like and why? I'll go first. Mine, I'm definitely Aaron. I say crazy shit and I'm outspoken and emotional. And and by the way, that little summary of how you described him growing up, like, oh my God, are you talking shit about me, Marnie? That's like exactly how I really did. I was like, wait a second, who are you talking about here for a second? And I think he's hilariously genuine, massive, big smile, big heart. He's a little douchey, but he's a really lovable, fun guy.
God, I love you way more.
You love me more than
Aaron. Okay, Emily, what about you? Who are you most like? I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to say. I do have that element of like the Genevieve, but I'm not like a big crier and like a big everything's about me person at all. So that doesn't really match up. Yeah. I don't know. That's tough. You're like a very advanced version of Aaron. You're very
I used to be like Victoria.
I was
right. Not I used to be like that because I would just like, if you were fucked up or if you needed some fixing up and you're cute, I was like, whatever, like I would just be like, I believe in you, babe. Like, and oh my God, I dated so many fixer uppers. And I think for sure that I resonate with her a lot from my past of where like, especially, and that's really why after my divorce and dating Johnny Locke, I really started working on myself. And I could really I knew all the language. Like she says, like, both things are true. I can see, but like, right. She has the emotional intelligence, but what's happening is it's not translating still into like the big decisions. Right. And so I really resonate with like being so close, but not in really figuring out the thing that gets you a different result. And I don't know. And I do not know because I'm not watching spoilers, but I'm getting a lot of like videos that are like spoiler about something about Victoria in Europe. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's about Johnny. So I don't know. But that was who if I had to pick, I would pick Victoria. Feel free to leave in the comments. Who are you most like? Right? Like, and it's okay. That's why we're here, because we were all like them at some point. Except for Sharks and Minnows. It just made me want to go to a birthday party, that whole episode, and be like 12. I'm like, where's the pizza? Where's the pizza and the bouncy? All right, ladies. Well, next week there's going to be more drama. We don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be big. We don't know when it's over. We're just here for it. But I appreciate you, Dr. Emily, coming on today's show. And Christopher, happy mustache day. Tom Selleck, if you could see him now. And whatever it is, ladies, oh my God, please, 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 life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes, and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Batista, and let's talk soon.